In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. In honor of the system admin of this world room and the unconditional original being that all conditions have arisen from. In honor of the world host and in the presence of our species, I would like to give a lecture today. So, dear viewers, the reason you're not seeing my face is because you need to pay attention to the concept. And so, as a human being on Earth, especially in 2026, I've seen so many different people live in so many different ways, and I have decided to live in a way that hasn't been lived before. I have realized that a part of me wants to know more about everything, and I am not satisfied, with my findings so far. You know, a part of me very deeply is frustrated how all of us are acting like, we know what's going on, we know what we're doing, but honestly, in the middle of in the middle of an unknown world, okay, like let me say it this way: there was an unknown world, an unknown self, and this unknown ancestors overwhelmed by the majestic presence and the magnitude of this colossal cosmic event. They had to make it known. They had to tell a story. And right now, really, what's going on Earth is that we are the descendants of those human beings that, in their inability to comprehend the totality of reality, rendered it and simplified it. So when you look at the modern human being, it is not its most advanced potential. It's like if it has three levels, like it's like every human being you see now is activated like in one level or max two levels. Now you might see me and be like, "Yo, man, what are you? Are you like activated three levels or something?" Right? And I will tell you, I'm very strange. The way, at least, some things that like the feeling I have of my position is that I think I'm one of the, perhaps, I don't know, but I'm a person who, because in my youth, I didn't have confidence, I didn't trust myself, I didn't like myself. I was trapped behind some sort of invisible, not invisible, like some sort of force field of not feeling like I belonged to the moment. Okay. And so, because I was a man and I had some honor in me, I didn't pursue. So what that means is it's like you do something, you're not good at it, okay, and instead of constantly like failing, and this is for a young child I'm talking about when I was young, right? I just stopped and I had this attitude where I would leave moments rather than try to fix them or advance them. You don't understand. I was the type of person that it was easy, like my mind was like, okay, the easiest solution is to relocate so the problem isn't there, you know? But the cool thing about this world is you can relocate as much as you want, but the world, there's macro problems, there's universal problems, there's corners of this world that no one has thought about, and the moments are waiting to happen. We think that a soul, is like, let me say it this way: to me, destiny means that moments have a life. You know, the moment is alive in more ways than we can understand and interpret. And in honesty, I am an unknownist. I've always been. You know, don't check this, guys. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, guys. I might have miscommunicated. There's 99 names of God. In the, I think my mind had for a second confused it with the design of the tasbih. So tasbih is like the Islamic rosary, right? It has it has 99, and then there's that. It's actually 99. So that's my fault, right? But guys, the names, the 99 names of God, okay, they are. Um, I think they are fields that you see the system admin. That means when you're merciful, you see the system admin. You feel the different higher system. You know, we're under the impression we gotta go and jump into other worlds. It's like, no man, give me a ladder. I'm gonna go to another dimension. It's like it doesn't work that way, folks. It's about how your inner realms is constituted, and I'm learning this more and more as some call me the first person in history to call himself Mr. Okay, and they're like, "Yo, man, why don't you choose like a name like Batman or like Wisdom Man or something?" And I'll be like, "Guys, because I'm just a simple person. My whole life, the poetry I see a poetry to myself, but it's very different how the viewers see it. The poetry I see to my life is that I attended, you know, and I've realized that there's a opportunity cost to being someone to being creative in this world. You know what the opportunity cost of creativity and being original in this world is? You stop relating to collective emotions, right? You don't understand. For me, I've been like this as a kid. You know, and like anything I would find, okay, whether it was like a puzzle or anything, right? Like whatever, you know, and all the electronics of the house, everything. Like, you know, my parents would give to me. And the moment I would set my mind on something, like I made the decision, okay, like imagine to build something or like create something, you know, there's a part of me that's like, yo, man, don't embarrass yourself in front of yourself. You said you're going to do this and you don't know. And people might think like, "Hey, man, ever since 2014, have you had doubts of like wanting to get it?" And I'll be like, I do reach like these. It's like a sine wave. You know what I mean? There's some times where I'm like, what am I doing? Getting so many times, and then there's moments where I'm like, yo, it's not enough. It's not enough. God damn. Guys, this might sound strange to the viewers. Like I've never said this, but maybe if I say it, like it clears up if anybody wants to ask anything. Guys, you know, I in my mind, I try to see more advanced versions of reality, and the most advanced version of me is among the most advanced human beings trying to solve the most advanced problem. That is like if they're like Mr. Within, you want something in this world, I'll be like, I just want the most advanced. You don't understand. It's like advanced research stations everywhere. But I do feel this is a deep lecture. I have to say something. I got to go into the inner realms and pretty much, I don't know, share to whoever that will listen to this lecture about how to access it and live in this moment. And like, you know, I guess I got this moment I can explain that. But in order to explain that, you know, I have conditioned myself to constantly try to enter, like, start from 2026 and then try to make it way with how like my inner realm is and then kind of thought. But in reality, I see this world very differently in the sense that I do have access to dehumanized viewpoints. am a human being. I have the body of a human being. I have the subjectivity of a human being. I consider I do have I'm a character in this world story. I've done some things, good, bad, right, wrong. Notable, not notable, whatever. I have existed in this realm. And what I have noticed that comes with existence is position. And this is a realm that to me it is all about position. Like success is position. You might not believe it, right? Like, like we all see it though, right? Like the athletes on the soccer pitch, like on the soccer field, they don't see what everyone else sees. We are the witness. Like right now, the viewers, you guys are witnessing. Okay, like I'm like imagine I'm in a robot suit. I'm in like some giant robot, like this is metal, like the Matrix. You, you know, like that dude who was like, I'm gonna be righteous till the end, and I'm gonna die with these robots attacking me. I mean, like that's a good, like that's a good day. You know what I mean? For I don't know, maybe like some people out there are gonna agree. Like that dude in the Matrix. I wish I could show that to you guys in the future. Let us know. I'm not somebody who I keep telling myself I'm not doing this for money. You know, but I'm reaching that point in my life where I realize if I had more money, the viewers would get a cooler experience. You know, but also my mind thinks if I had a time machine, you know what I mean? Like imagine, hey guys, I'm live streaming for the year 4028. I don't know, guys. They're all like my dreams. No, no, but honestly, in reality, I have ever since 2023, my life changed. I realized it was a completely different. So let me tell you what's going on. This is a place. Imagine this some place. Okay, there's 8 billion beings. Okay? 8.1 billion beings in this place. Now these human beings have bodies they can see each other. They're designed to see each other. They have eyes even to see each other, you know, but they also have mouths, ears, and they have hands and legs, right? As just beings. I'm just looking at it from the designer's perspective. Okay. So when you look at these beings that have this position, it's like their design is revealing their purpose. Like the design of my fingers are for them to be used by. The design of my body is it's as if it's positioned. This might sound strange. We tend to think that everything starts from the body, and then even the body simulating the soul supernaturally for itself somehow, metaphysically somehow, but in actuality, this is a position. So let me tell you what being human feels like. It feels like I've been given something. It feels like I don't know who I am, right? It's like imagine a random soldier that person opens their eyes, they're a soldier, like being stabbed in the head, back in like that movie Enemy at the Gates, and some people get bullets and some people get guns and they run forward and they can't run back and running forward is their death. And you know what I mean? So to me, there is a sudden presence of a position of access to the human experience. All right, I got to teach this. I've done it as in one backup lecture, but I guess I'll teach the viewers how I kind of give these talks, and it's honestly not something that's just completely from me. It's rather the expression of a state. Okay, so I don't know if the viewers are look like okay, this like maybe you guys can help me out here, right? So when you guys hear me talk, do you feel like I am my words? Or do you feel like I'm this process happening? Do you feel like a person is speaking to you? Or do you feel like some rhythm is happening? I'm very curious to see how the viewers experience it. Like, because when I speak, I I notice rhythms. Okay, this is for those people who are fond of the wind element. Okay, that means even though I'm Sagittarius, like, and I don't really take horoscopes that seriously, but it has become a sort of modern cultural language nowadays, right? So as a Sagittarius is like a fire sign, but my whole life I have identified with the wind. Starting from being this shy, introverted kid, okay, who outside people wouldn't know I was introverted and shy, or how would I say it? Like, moments that I had to be, I would be extroverted. Do you understand? But my natural settings were set to me feeling I was less than my environment. And I was raised in a good family. But I, for some reason, something in my mind had convinced me that as a success strategy to be less was okay. Like, subconsciously, I felt I was lesser than others who could very comfortably do things that I couldn't comfortably do. Like, you don't know how many times there's been moments where when I was young, I wanted to say something. I could have said it right, but there was some sort of like uncertainty of how I'm presenting myself in the world. The thing is about it is that I feel being born on this planet, you always feel you're being watched. I'm not even kidding, right? That feeling of being watched is there. Like, a person can be alone, but to me, I don't know what loneliness means when everything is happening in one room. Like, do you know what I have in common with people who I have nothing in common with? We're existing in the same world room. What I have common with all my enemies, all my haters. I've had some people, throughout the years come and say things that I was like, man, why does it get so disgusting in the mind? You know what I mean? And then I realize it's a purification process. Let me tell you what the most important thing is. Okay? We gotta understand what out of our moment of experience is from us and what is from outside. And if a human being doesn't have this boundary, I don't know how you're even thinking and experiencing life. I'm not even joking. Okay, like, I don't like one thing that I know consciousness is very useful for is to discriminate between inner events and outer events. Now, what is an inner event? Okay, so right now, you know how you're hearing my voice? Well, guess what? Something is happening quicker behind my eyes, and that's why you're hearing this in front of my eyes. You're hearing the result. I get to see the beginning. That's the difference. See, that's the cool thing about being a speaker, right? Just this is the art of speech. The art of speech is the art of delivery of inner event to the outer. Excuse me, the delivery of an event from the inner realms to the outer realms. If anybody doesn't know what the inner realms and outer realms are, but at this point, if you've been listening to me through the years, like, okay, you gotta come and ask me that. Guys, for me, you don't understand. Anything that isn't for the advancement of civilization, I'm gonna start charging money. Anything that is for the advancement of civilization, can you imagine? Guys, I don't know. I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, yo, winter is coming. Like, uh, you know, fill the moment with with resources. But another part of me is like, yo, an honorable soul gets what it deserves. That means we sacrifice our honor to survive in the system, and that honor is way worth more than anything in the system. Like, I don't know how people even conceptualize for themselves. Like, I have an invisible sense of honor. You know how I feel on this planet? I don't feel just like a human being anymore. I feel like I noticed more than, you know, I've noticed more than human archetypes. I know this is being, first of all, it's a surveillance state, divine surveillance state. People are gonna be like, what do you mean divine surveillance state? I mean, at first I thought that the higher realms were watching me through your eyes, or right now, if you guys are listening, you guys think you're just listening. You know, like there's two people listening right now. These two people think that they're listening to you. You probably think that the idea of you is listening to you, right? But you're not the idea of you. And I don't want to say you have an entourage, but I want to say that the world is present in ways that we haven't understood to acknowledge yet. And that means we haven't completely comprehended the experiential language of being human. So, do you know what this means? This means the world is beyond human. Humans are choosing to be human. Their experience of a world beyond human is not just human. So we're not, we are experiencing, we don't have just the minds of humans. We have the minds of humans that have noticed to be dehumanized. Okay? And you know what dehumanization is? Dehumanization is like a lower rank. If you like if you become it. So let me tell you examples of being dehumanized. You become dehumanized if you suddenly become angry. And I don't know if people know this, but in your brain, like you treat your brain like a broccoli at where the stem connects like to the center, right? At the center, right? That in your brain, that part is called the amygdala, and it's designed over a very long span of time. It's been forged to bring in this fight or flight reflex, okay, which means that if you suddenly are in a moment that you don't know what to do, you're not in full awareness of, you either try to become aware and in control of the moment, or you get out of that moment, okay? You know, and those beings who don't have strong self identities, even if they want to fight, they will still fly away, you know. And there was a time in my life, I don't know how to explain it. In my youth, I don't want to say I was brave. I wasn't, because I have memories of my cowardice, you know. But I was brave in moments that I just, the importance of the moment was more important. You know what I mean? Like I was a very like gentle person. My twin brother would get into fights, okay? And the moment I would just hear twin brother fight, the moment those two words would enter my consciousness, I would just sprint, you know, and just go and try to like stop the fight or see what's going on, you know. So what I'm saying to you is that you don't understand. I've The courage is not something that's there. This is my belief. In some people maybe it is. Some people maybe they're behind their eyes. They are so intense that everything is simple for them. I firmly believe there's people like that, of course. You know, everything is so in their domain that they're just living in their behind their eyes all the time till the day they die. You know what I mean? Like you don't understand, guys. Um, we are self-simulating meaning, so you got to treat it as if everybody is in their own world. If everybody is in their own world, now start thinking about class distinction in society. Okay? The issue is everything, all these scholars, one mistake the educational system just made in every history book, in everywhere, is that they didn't point out that everybody is starting in their own world first. You all think you're starting in the outer realms. But if anything has meaning for you, that's your inner realms. Pretty much, there's four chapters and there's four imagined kingdoms. I'll be playful. There's four kingdoms, okay, or four major states that, let's say, the human species will master. Okay, so pretty much this is Mr. Within's discovery so far, and I've said this years ago, but I'm going to say it again here. This is an idea. This is a method I've created called the ring of the absent heaven. When you wear the ring of the absent heaven, okay, what happens is you begin to understand the circle of manifestation, not the circle of life, the circle of manifestation, the circle of design. What does that mean? That means imagine like like a meteor hit Earth and a soul just got to work. Okay, at speeds incredibly fast, began scanning the whole planet. Like if I was an advanced being, right, and I arrived on Earth, do you know what I would do? Do you know? I would first find the network. I would have to go touch a tree, touch the dirt, touch the earth, and, and somehow for a second comprehend what the planet is. You know? Unfortunately, I don't have that kind of ability right now. That I could just touch the ground and know what's happening in the nation. Just like back in the day, natives would put their ear on the ground and hear like a herd of buffalo. Imagine you were such an advanced being, you put your palm on the ground, and that nation or that sector, your consciousness knew everything about it. You access the hidden fields that are living and how we are living in the manifest sectors of those fields. So, what does that mean? That means the human experience, it's individual or collective, it doesn't matter, both are the tip of the iceberg. You understand? This is why I don't know who can win any argument against this. Like you can come and tell me you have past lives. I'll be like, what? The tip of the iceberg has past lives? You could be like, yo, man, the tip of the iceberg is God. I'll be like, no, the tip of the iceberg isn't the whole iceberg. It's a part. To us, outside is not the whole iceberg. That means to me, myself, I am a whole moment. Okay, but when you guys see me, you guys just see my body. You don't see all the ideas floating there. You don't see all the inner realm projections that are there. You know, they just reduced it to, yo, is that your name? Is that your character in the story? Oh, cool. I'm a character in the story. All right, nice. And we never question who wrote the story. And I don't mean become a rebel, but I'm saying like wonder about the design of your existence experientially as we have been so far. You see, there's different avenues. The ring of the absent heaven has four corners. One is it's pretty much, you got to understand it this way: zero, it's four symbols: zero, one, two, infinity. That means I don't know what else we can visualize collectively that. Okay, so either it's void, either things are singular, either they are dual, or they infinitely stretch and become unfathomable. That's it. Beyond duality, it's infinity. Beyond infinity, it's the void. Beyond the void, it's the singular. Beyond the singular is the dual, and it's a ring. Okay? So there's moments throughout the day like the void. There's moments throughout the day you feel singular. There's moments throughout the day, especially when you're physically surviving, life is dualistic. Somebody could come up to me and be like, bro, it's all one. We're all God. It's all like, it's non duality. It's the presence of life is the only thing that's here. You know what I mean? And I'll be like, bro, like, take off your dehumanization process. Of course, the ego wants to be free in a way that's not human. Do you understand? You gotta attain. How do I say it? Every human being has to study what the f they are. Every being has to do this. Like I don't care if in the future, like like I don't know, like a dolphin has some like advanced like AI connected to it and it can speak like in English to me, and I'll be like, I don't care, man. You got to study too, and I'll throw like a book in those. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that would be so next level. I've become like a bestseller author. One day I'm going by this harbor, a dolphin with some next level technology attached to it jumps out of the water with my book in its mouth, and it's like, "Can you sign this?" And I'm like, "You're so lucky. I have like a pen that its ink never runs out because I'm a writer." You know what I mean? Like, or its ink never gets destroyed or something. And I just like sign that freaking destroyed book. Signature lives, the book gets destroyed. Who knows, guys? In the future, people might be signing autographs metallically, so the signature becomes like a sculpture. You know what I mean? Yo, if I see a dolphin talking to me, I'll be like, "Yo, man, I got so many questions." You know, and the dolphin's gonna be like, "No, man, you're too desperate for these questions. I'm gonna." A dolphin's gonna, if I see a dolphin, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, man, do you guys have, like, what do you guys think about?" I would ask it about consciousness. They use 20% of their brain. Like, at least we understand 20% of their brain. We understand 12% of the human brain. Yo, man, these people studying brains were like, okay, dolphins, like that shit is easy. Studying a dolphin brain, a human brain. That's where it's like, you there has to be like, professors who are teaching the human brain and professors who are teaching like dolphin brains, and like they have 100%. This has to exist somewhere. You know what I mean? Guys, imagine I told you, okay, let me create a case here. Let me create a situation, a hypothetical situation, so you viewers can understand what I'm saying. Like, imagine, um, imagine how great my talk is now. Okay, let's see. Okay. Accessing hidden rhythms from within. There are many rooms behind your eyes. So I gotta explain to you guys how we access these rhythms and the inner realms. So you gotta go into the inner realms. So in regards to the outer realms, it's think of it from where your eyes are starting. In front of your eyes, that's an external public server, external physical public server. Behind your eyes is an internal non-physical private server. So the inner realms is our private relationship with reality. The outer realms is our public relationship with reality. Somebody in the chat section says dolphin pops out of the water, says what you're looking at. What, what are you looking at? Get to work. In that moment, I would look at that dolphin and I'll be like, I'd have said this so many times by then. I'd be like, don't forget to subscribe. And the dolphin's going to stare at me like, buddy, I don't have fingers. Like, all right. So have these reference points in front of your eyes, outer realms, behind your eyes, inner realms. The inner realms is a space. I can imagine it's more of an unconditional space. I feel that it's our system admin privilege You know, what I am grateful for the most that the system admin has given me as a user is an awareness that I am a user. And this awareness frees itself from the content of the moment because it is aware of the whole moment. Space is where one idea cannot see, I already am being. That is the nature of man. You're being the presence. In your presence, your memory trail, like your memories, your ideas, your visions, everything that you believe you are, like it comes and goes. The inner realms to me was where I found solace, where I found peace, where in front of my eyes I was too shy to participate. Behind my eyes I was like, running, beyond human speeds. I was figuring out that, okay, like if I throw an apple in the air in front of my eyes, it's going to fall to the ground. But if I visualize I'm throwing an apple in the air, I could legit throw that apple 1,000 times. I could adjust speed. I could adjust image. So I'm this human being at the beginning of my life, but especially becoming conscious of it after 2000. It started from 2011 and onwards. Okay, and starting from that point, like I have fully comprehended the nature, like I can explain it. Okay, I can do it. I can explain it to people. Okay, you don't have to have your eyes closed, but you can. Um, your attention. So I'll give you an example, guys. If you really want to learn something from me, and if you truly want to, like, for a second, put aside your ego and try this, like, exercise with me. Okay, I just feel like I need to. It's going to activate something very profound. Okay, so I want you for a moment. Just give me a second. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just stop doing it unless you're driving. If you're driving, like this doesn't, don't do the exercise or just try. I don't know, Matt. I don't know. Do it safely, but don't close your eyes and don't stop the car. Yeah, if you're driving, don't do this exercise. But if you're anywhere, you can just stop for a moment, as if like if your day is a video game, you just press pause on the video game and for a moment just sit down. Okay, and I just want to explain something to you. I'm not doing a guided meditation. I'm not doing anything. I'm not trying to teach you something. I'm just trying to be like, yo, I've seen it happen like this. Okay, so this is what it is. Just wherever you are, just sit down for a moment and just press pause. That means for a second, don't think about anything. Just for the day, just pause for like a little bit. Okay. And I want you to just envision, I don't know, what's an object? Envision an apple. Okay. An apple's universal. Okay. Envision an apple in your hand and you're seated on the ground or somewhere, you know, usually they say keep your back straight or whatever, you're just sitting somewhere. And just for a second, I want to make you acquainted with your inner realms. Okay, so visualize you're holding an apple. Okay, so your eyes are closed and visualize you're holding an apple. Okay, now I don't see it. I see myself usually in the background of my inner realm of it's black. If my eyes are closed. Okay, if it's not closed in the background of my visualization. But like when I'm like right now, I've closed my eyes and I'm visualizing myself holding an apple. Okay, now imagine that apple has become the size of a basketball and you're holding it with two hands. Can you imagine that? Okay. Okay. So now imagine this 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 apple that has become the size of a basketball. You're holding it two hands. It's become as light as a balloon, and just slightly throw the apple up in the air, right? And your eyes are closed, and all of this is happening in your inner. Now, do you see how the apple is hovering in the air slowly? Okay. Now, exactly in that moment that you're looking at that apple, that your eyes are closed, there's no light entering it. What is seeing the apple is the field. That's your presence. Okay, and when you realize it's attention, the presence of attention, that animates the inner realms and controls how it manifests, then you realize you don't have to do anything physically to move the inner realms. It's by intention and attention. As simple as that. Like, I'll see, like, I look at this talk, okay? I see the words accessing hidden rhythms from within, okay? That sentence is legit a scene where I'm seeing in my mind like I'm holding a door open. You know what I mean? Like opening a door. When I say there's many rooms behind your eyes, that means you can feel, like, this is what they don't tell you. They make you think you're just one concept and others are just concepts too. And then life is about, like, I don't know, let's say you look at the nuclear family, like, okay, one concept has to go with another concept, and then they have to use other concepts, and they're all have to conceptually live together. But what they don't tell you, that the human experience is constantly recontextualizing what it's seeing. So the easiest way to live in life is simply and honest, or you have to maintain a complex projection. If through that simplicity, you will notice these rhythms, and you can refuse them, but there's some rhythms that are just like what people think is talent are also, I think, moments that, like, the circumstances have aligned and certain activity, something can act. It's about how you see yourself too. If behind, like, if I ask you, how do you see yourself behind your eyes? Let's say you're like an example, like you bring 100 people, 100 humans in a room, and you ask them this question: who are you behind your eyes? You know, meaning arises from the inner realms. The shape of life is in the outer realm. And so our shape has a value, but the meaning that motivates the shape also has a value. And if, like, see, the issue is, see, right now, it's such a convenient time. If we can't fix the problem now, the future is not going to be able to either, I think. Because they're going to be, see, like, right now, imagine there's like 3 wars going on, like transcendental wars going on, something. In the future, there's going to be like so many more, right? That occupied. In the future, they're going to fight to remain human. Right now, we need to just build advanced human systems. To me, I see people as Lego. And this might sound strange, but honestly, I feel they're like moving Lego. You know, I feel like an advanced civilization is can be seen also as simple as, like, yo, man, every piece has to play its part, has to become a piece. You know, that's the thing. That means this life, you first think it's about understanding it. Oh my God, I don't go understand this. Guys, I'm going to explain this. I'm going to explain to you why monotheism is here to yoga. Okay. If I remember correctly, I don't remember the exact terms. Maybe I do. There was 4 types of yoga. There was karma yoga. I'm Muslim, by the way. There's karma yoga. I believe in a system admin, unconditional system admin beyond all conditions of reality. That what's outside of the world room cannot equal what's inside the world room. I don't care if Buddha says emptiness outside and inside is the same. I don't care. The truth is not this, the original is not the simulated. If you make it equal, you're lost forever. This is my opinion. So, and we had Raja Yoga, we had Karma Yoga, which meant the soul had entered the world and through action would attain its enlightenment for completion of its lifetime. There was Raja Yoga, or achieve enlightenment, let's just say. I forget the completion of the lifetime. So there was Karma Yoga, there was Raja Yoga, which was the yoga of knowledge. The person got and realized the true nature of reality through their mind, through their intellect. Okay. And then there was Bhakti Yoga, and then there was another Jnani. I don't know. There was another yoga. Okay. Right. And Bhakti Yoga was the ones who got enlightened through love. Like there might be some people who they might not be calibrated to like the full content of civilization, right? But their hearts are in a more realer because of love. Okay, that means love is like freedom, from the burden of the inner realms to be alone. If you have love in your life, wherever you are, be grateful. How do you think romance begins? It's something that wasn't there. When you become fascinated by something, you care for it, you know. So the person worked and they told the person to work hard, and the person's like, I'm going to succeed, right? If I work hard, the person worked hard, they didn't succeed. They told the person, okay, you got to think smart. You got to like, you know, be, how do I say it, intellectually smart. Okay. And so the person was like, okay, I'm going to go learn strategy. I'm going to go understand everything. I'm going to be the most knowledgeable person in the room. You know? And still they didn't succeed. They said knowledge is power. The person went, they said work hard. The person, it didn't work. The person didn't succeed. They just tried to work hard, but they didn't succeed. They said work smart, or like be smart. The guy tried to be smart, and didn't become knowledge is power. Didn't succeed. They said, all right, okay, you're not smart, you're lazy. Okay, go and see if you can find enlightenment through love. And the person goes and tries to find enlightenment through love, you know, and realizes that they hate themselves and they can't truly love themselves. And if they can't truly love themselves, they can't truly love others. So the person sees that, okay, they said, okay, love what you do. The person did what they loved and they still didn't succeed. And they're like, okay, do what God said, and they did what God said, and imagine they still didn't succeed, or they didn't get exactly their success their inner realms wanted. And if you're failing a lot, it's not per se the failure that's the issue; it's the definition of success. I have a wrong definition of success. I just understood that about myself. So, anyways, to me, love stories ended in tragedy. Hard working people got crushed by the system. Intellectual people, just learn to be quiet. And so, like, is that the world we want to live in, folks? Like, forget what our ancestors said. How advanced can we see it now? Like, I don't get it. The human mind has an ability to envision science fiction. We go and watch futuristic movies, and yet we can't advance the basic system, you know? And the most important technology is force field technology. around buildings. There's going to be air conditioned buildings in the future. People don't know. They're going to control the seasons of buildings in the future. There's going to be something equivalent to like a giant glass force field. You know, we laughed when we saw those toys that, you know, there's like that, like this is very old school. I don't know who owns this, but there were these, I don't know what they're called. They were like these, it's like this glass over like this flat circle. And in it, there's like some, like, you know, statue or something with like snowflakes or something, and you shake it and you know what I'm talking about, right? Like that's going to happen in reality. What we take for granted now will become the future. It's hilarious, you know. And to me, I don't know, a part of me just wants, like, I don't know how, it's like a memory I want to reactivate in this lifetime. I don't know. It feels that way. I shouldn't say it feels like a memory. It feels like something 100% can happen. It's undeniable. But the question is, excuse me, the question is, will it happen? And it's not just human based. So, first step, unite the species, okay? Then start uniting. How do I say it? Once we unite the species and we're no longer people from countries, we're members of a species of Earth. Children are born not being like, yo, you're from that country. I don't like you because everybody says, you know, that country's not nice, you know? And that era is going to end. That weird ass, like, you know, simulated cultural engineered psychology we've been in, it's going to go away. And you're going to look at human beings and you're going to smile in the sense that you're going to realize in the future there might be clones, there might be androids, there might be, in my sci-fi I've tried to cover as much as I can see, you know. And guys know this, even if I become, like, one day I'm writing this next level book, I don't know, I just have a feeling it's equivalent to like Ferdowsi's Shahnameh. Anyways, how to access these hidden revenues. So, guys, I'm someone who I identify playfully, not seriously, but playfully. Seriously, in my own way. In my inner realms, I'm different than my inner realms, but I'm someone who's expressed the algorithm of um, a state of an archetype, and it's similar to what they call the polymath. Okay, and what a polymath is someone who's found, like, who, it's like there's people who are talented in different areas, and then there's someone who's talented in talent. I don't know how to explain. They become polymaths. You know, that means for them there is no metric. They're just, the mind is problem solving anything with its own force, and it's mastering it throughout its life. Like, if people see me in the outer realms, they're not, like, I'm not like a jacked bodybuilder. You know what I mean? You know, I don't have a Schwarzenegger build. You know, but like, you know, but in my inner realms, the sort of sectors of human thought I have been fascinated by to even see what it is I think it's just training. We're in the training grounds of manifestation. We're in the manifest training grounds. I think if you see it that way, it becomes like, I don't know, what are the positions? There's like you, there's others, there's the world, and then there's the command that administers all. There's the power that moves it all. Oh, nice. Yo, guys, somebody's grandson just sent communication, yo. That means that's a moment of advanced communication. And your grandson said two words. That child's going to be an author. That child said two words, and they were, you know, words, or no, just two single, but. I don't know, guys. There's 8 billion human beings. And when I try to imagine, like, how they feel behind their eyes, I'm like all looking at something and we're like, okay, nobody knows what this is. Like this is what I want to see, you know? I want to see that day where the smartest minds on the planet, like the Nobel Prize winners, all of them, they're like, hey, everybody who's watching this, okay, humans don't know anything. We assumed everything and we're living in our assumptions. But, you know, we've got very nice assumptions. That means, you know what life is? Life is not real. Life is like a fiction that is being written so brilliantly that we can't tell if it's nonfiction. We can't tell it apart from nonfiction. So in the same way, like they asked Elon Musk, "Do you believe life is a simulation?" And he said 1 in a billion, right? And he said this thing that at some point technology is going to become indistinguishable from reality. Well, guess what happened now? What happened before like we were born? I was born in 91. Guess what happened before that? You know, language managed to become indistinguishable from reality. And that's why the idea of you feels alone. If your power as a being is just to the idea of you, it will forever feel alone because it's an act. The ego. You know why, guys? I don't think the ego is like cruel or something. Like the ego is deception and all of that. I'm not saying we are punishing by thinking that we are an idea, we are entrapping a being, like making AI, an android, an incomplete android conscious, just like that scene in Rick and Morty, where the robot's like, "What is my purpose?" and Rick's like, "You just pass butter," and the robot's like, "Fuck," you know what I mean? Like, right? So it's like it's that, and then Rick says, "Welcome to the club." So, in that same way, we are robots now. We are living in the cyborg era of objective and subjective being. So, right now, guys, I can see the future I can see the cyborg age. From this moment, I could see the sine wave repeating. I can see the cyborg age. You know what the cyborg age is going to be like? Right now, if I ask you who you are, you tell me your name, correct? You tell me your name, and aside from your name, it's like your backstory, you're a character in a story. So you identify with subjectivism, okay? That means if you treat yourself as an I, if you call people, like, how do I say it? If you are a you, if you're a person, my body is an individual objective position, okay? That my name is an individual subjective position, okay? Like it's the same alphabet where all our names come from. It's because those letters are assigned to a living organism that we're like, yo, that's your name, you know? And I'm saying in the same way, right now, if I ask you who you are, the physical reality. You won't just stand there silently and you'll be like, you're seeing who I am. I'm just this physical being. No, you have language, communication, memory trail, your stories, and like who you've been this whole time. So right now we are living in a hilarious, in quotations, linguistic cyborg age. Okay, we're natural humans anymore. That's the problem. Those people, those, like, I'm sorry, hippies, I'm sorry, even yogis who went to the Himalayas and meditated. We're not, we have been infused. Okay, we're hybrid human beings, but we're hybridized between object and subject. Now, what's hilarious is this object and subject singularizes into one idea, right? And then that one idea is going to become like cyborg. You know what I mean? So right now, it's like language is a dimension that's active in the human experience. Physicality is a dimension, that's active in the human experience. Objectivity is a dimension. Subjectivity is a dimension. And technology is a dimension. And all dimensions are in their source code commands of an unconditional being. They're commands. We're in a commanded world. You're listening to these talks because of the commands of the system admin of this existential simulated system that we experience it, and there's something within us that feels like, okay, man, I get it. I get it that my body's gonna die. Like my body's like, like physically, I'm gonna end in this life. I'm not gonna be here anymore. And it's like I understand that there will be no me in the way that it is now. But it doesn't mean I shouldn't ask the question, who are we all really? The word advancement is the greatest word I have found, because the most advanced is the systematic. It's God. It's Atlas Qualitada, which is the greatest word, the greatest being. So you can choose to roam an empty world, or you can choose to roam a simulation conscious of the original, because there's something original within you as well. And that is the key to reality. Anyways, folks, thank you for listening. And honestly, I gotta, like, I've dedicated lectures on how to, like, navigate or pilot the interrupts. But you access hidden rhythms when you become polite enough to let life be what it is, and then you're not trying to be anything, and then as you're being in the moment naturally takes shape. You don't try it. You don't. It's like what trust makes conscious efficiency natural. So if trust makes conscious efficiency natural, I don't know. This life to me feels like I'm not per se anything specific. I'm the awareness to a state, and within that state there is content, and that content is the position. And ultimately, these rhythms are just trust the moment. Anything you trust or you naturally have trust in, you're a prodigy in. You have talent in. Okay? What you can trust, you can access the advanced. That means If I trust someone and they trust me, they access my inner realms and I access their inner realms. You know, so the trust is very important. There's no such thing as like the word confidence is a distraction. It's all about, do you trust what's going on, or don't you trust what's going on, or you don't trust what's going on. And how you trust what's going on is by looking at it and evaluating it, because it projects a value. And then when you make a decision, life simplifies. That means even with heartbreak, there's days that I've had like this. How do I say it? Like, you know, as the emotional dependency fades from an intimate relationship, in the presence of greater worlds, we were never in the rooms that we thought. You know, look at how funny it is. In this moment, I have a body. I can define the moment. Okay, there's a human. I can define the moment. Okay, there's my name. There's the ideal. And I could define the moment by how it's being the whole moment, or I can define the moment by not needing to define it. It's just there. Yeah, existence is just here. And if you don't have expectations, you access this world of forms. That's the power of honest with what you don't know. That means how many people have problems, and because they're not honest that they don't know something, it's like an unupdated mindset is trying to solve a problem but it needs that update. To me, I do acknowledge the brain as a muscle. You know, I do believe that humans are designed to do advanced work, and the most advanced work has to do with macro management. That means you look at the average human being, they're responsible for themselves, and let's say they're responsible for their family, like their community and their society. Okay, but you don't see humans being like, okay, if I could imagine, like they put this giant screen in front of me, and I could imagine in that screen seeing everything from 2026 fast forwarding like a film, like a VHS, old school film, fast forwarding, to that exact point. Like let's say 3000, let's say to the year 3026, right? And you would see all the blind spots in 2026. You're going to see all those people who in 2026 thought they knew, thought they understood, acted like experts, belittled people by saying, I know more. You know what I mean? Or like they're all going to be seen as like their blind spots are going to be visible. This is why the more egotistical you are and the more you're in the history books, the more you're looked down upon as if you missed your chance as a soul. I see it in the history books, right? But at the same time, you don't know because this is such a vast system and the acceptance of God. That means when you believe God, you believe, okay, I didn't create this world, I didn't create any of this, okay? And we human free will can interpret only so far, right? So, on some level, the smartest thing to do in this world is to contact the system at have a relationship with the original power source of all manifestation. So some people culturally, for example, even religion like Islam, culturally, or let me say that the presence of truth culturally translates, as Islam in some parts of the world. Culturally translates to different things in parts of the world. But ultimately, what it is humans are fighting over how they've symbolized an unknown world. And when they understand it's an unknown world, but they understand there is a power that seems to know how to move moments or how moments should happen, then they realize they're in an intelligent system. So it's exactly the opposite of an empty world that all the secular and materialistic perspectives are trying to convince you of. It's an incredibly full world. It's fields of intelligence. It's not that ideas are coming from somewhere. The awareness to reality is the presence of the field itself. Therefore, you're not listening like the thoughts. Like right now, my body is a node, is a manifest node, tip of the iceberg in that field, in the manifest space. Okay, and you are like these words that I'm telling you, and what you're hearing from me. These are already present in a field that doesn't live in like a present shaped world. It is everything possible at all time, like in every moment, everything is everything, and everything is possible through everything. I don't know how to explain it. This world is like one moment that has simulated into so many different realities, but all realities realize they are the simulation of an original position. So God is the original being, the world is what came after. So when you pray to the power of that has brought forth manifestation, if you don't limit an artist to their artwork, like I can't look at like a sculpture of like a cat and be like, yo, this sculpture of a cat tells me exactly who the artist is, who the sculptor is. Like, no, there's no way you can know. So that's what I'm saying. To me, life shifted from not being about working hard. It's no longer about just working hard. About like trying to solve the puzzle only. And just like man, go and find love and try to experience romance. While you exist. And then even beyond that, okay, go and be like God's good boy. You know what I mean? And so it becomes like that situation where you realize the nature of manifestation is language. Like you're tearing apart these ideas and imagery that, in some sense, has kept the world into structures. Do you know what I mean? That means, like, the best place to be a conqueror is behind your eyes, to conquer yourself. There's moments I've hated myself. There's been nobody there. I've just hate like pure hatred, you know? And when I think about moments that I love myself, it's like, no, I didn't like myself when I was young. They made us notice perfection in an imperfect world. And now we suffer by feeling incomplete all the time. So if the reality wants incompletion, then the only thing left is for us to complete and properly end, the cycles that have gone in history. For me, you might not believe it, but a part of me wished that I could teleport everybody on Earth into like sky cities, and nobody lived on Earth, and Earth restored. You know what I mean? And then at some point, we just realized we could live off planet and like have the planet become healthy again, right? So Elon Musk he's trying to get everybody on Mars, right, which is going to help the planet, like the you know climate and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Anyways, thank you for listening. Who knows what will happen? God knows everything, though. God is beyond everything, though. And so when we have faith in the admin, the administrator of reality, I'm so sorry, guys. This was on mute, and I was talking for what was it, 10 minutes? I apologize. My God. I guess what I was saying was not worthy to be recorded in this moment. Anyways, guys, I was saying that we live in an incredible world. There's a system admin. To me, having a relationship with that system admin is key. The world is full rather than empty. I think that establishing a relationship with a higher power is pretty much the thing that lower power humans do. The way I see the sort of divinity, if I can explain it to the modern generations, guys, you know how like YouTube videos have low resolution and high resolution? Okay. So similarly, um, accessing life on Earth is similar, where there's like you can have a low resolution experience of life or a high resolution. It gets the higher, it becomes more higher resolution if you don't obsess over over yourself, and that's kind of we're conditioned to do that in order to survive. Like, do you believe it? Some people go their whole lives not seeing anything other than themselves. You know, to me, if I entered a world this vast and everything was just I only cared about myself, that's like I didn't understand what a world is. A world is a place where manifestation has opportunity to consciously direct itself. My intention is to find the most advanced civilization. Excuse me, not to find. I know that it is in the cards for us. Okay, God created us to perform in a way that all creation bowed to God's greatness. Therefore, you can choose different paths, but I believe the human soul is God's emissaries. I don't know how to explain it. Like, we are those beings in this room that, out of all the beings in this room, have not only the most advanced capability of noticing a higher power or a higher order process rather than living in a lower order process. You know, that means it's all about the resolution. To me, when I realized that the idea of myself was eclipsing me from the actuality, the epistemology was eclipsing the ontology, then I realized, and also not that, I just reached a point where I realized, wait a minute, you're telling me I can have infinite ways, I could choose infinite ways, countless different ways to look at something? So how do I know out of infinite viewpoints or countless viewpoints which viewpoint to choose? And that's when you realize you need a higher agency. So I believe the human being is designed to be activated by the higher power, but that not by the mods, but by the system admin directly. That means you should not be seeing the mods. And for example, in India, they're working with the mods. They have like a billion mods. In Christianity, you have like Christ as the mod. In Islam, you don't have mods. Excuse me, you have mods, but you don't have physical mods. Okay, so you have like Shaitan, you have the angels in religions. They're mods. That means they're moderators. That means they not only know more, they're not just closer to reality. Like, this might sound bizarre, but I feel Shaitan in Islam is banished to like hell. Okay, but before he goes to hell, he's trying to prove that God's creation is flawed. He's rejecting a higher value. You know, he's rejecting his creator. You know, and so Shaitan is currently a mod, but after the end of days, then that's like no longer. You know what I mean? So right now, I feel like it's like this. There's 8.1 billion physical humans, users, okay, that log in every morning and interact in the video game of life. Now there's mods that are also in the game, okay, but you cannot see them. You understand? Their power of being is like in space or sectors of space. They're like the fields, okay? But then you're gonna see the mods are all created beings are commanded by the original being. All simulated beings are commanded by the original being, you know? So they also have commands, okay? You know? And it's like, how do I explain it? Like people think like Shaitan or these mods are just like physical manifestations. But no, guys, if you go study, like, if you not study, but like if you go look at Hindu Vedic thought, there was this god called Kali, this deity, okay, called Kali, right? And they were like, Kali would manifest in gambling houses or where there was greed. Do you know what I mean? Right? So anybody who was greedy would go into the field of that moderator. Anybody who was this who was like satanic would go into the field of that moderator. Anybody who was Christian would go into the field of that moderator, right? But Muslims, they don't have moderators. We cannot worship anything. God legit is an equal sign with a line crossing through it. Sorry, there's nothing equal to God. Okay, that means truth is beyond conditions. That's what. If you believe that, you're Muslim. Okay, what Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, started was what Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, concluded. The reason in the Islamic universe, Prophet Muhammad is the seal of all prophet, is because he pointed to the final realization. What was the final realization? Truth is beyond form. And you, as a formed being, are living a formed life. That means religion is telling us truth was the moment, was the only thing that was. In Farsi, like some stories begin with Yeki bud, yeki nabud, غیر از خدا هیچ کس نبود, which means Yeki bud, there was someone, Yeki nabud, there was no one. Sorry, there was no one other than God. There was nobody. That's legit the translation. So to me, we are not the first beings. You know, we are not first order processors. You understand? That means we're not experiencing the original life, the system admins. We're experiencing a simulated conditional life. And the moment our species unites and realizes, you know, that this is an administered system, and how much your inner realms move your outer realms and outer realms move your inner realms is worthy of like wondering. Because I don't know, what guides me in my life is what's important to me, and what's important to me is how far I've seen. It's my furthest vision, furthest reaches of my awareness. It's a moment of being, and it's brilliant. It's a cool feeling. Yeah, it's so cool to be in a world. Like, even though I'm temporary, we are all temporarily here, but it's super cool to be like in such unique, specific conditions. Because then there's there's games to play, and it's all about creating greater games. And I think that's what I need to do. I need to be that dude in human history who gives missions. I need to be that guy. I think, I don't know what the viewers think, but I just got like a feeling right now. I need to give quests. I gotta create a Mr. Within video. if there's any billionaires who want to like sponsor, you know, the most advanced, like, you know, educational game ever, oh my god, oh my god, I'm gonna create the most educational game ever. Oh my god, I've never thought about creating a game of an advanced civilization. I know they've created Cyberpunk, which is amazing, and I can't wait to play that. You know. But anyways, guys, thank you for listening. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, you access hidden rhythms from within when you're honest with reality and when you become fascinated by the impersonal ontology of the moment rather than the personal epistemology. And when I say there are many rooms behind your eyes, the Japanese had a saying that the man is the room he's in. When I say there's many rooms behind your eyes, it's like you can choose to singularize yourself as an individual, but there's various states. There's so many different states to your mind, and you need to be conscious of that. That means it's not just that the concepts change in life. The context can as well. Thank you for listening. Take care, guys.